Wes the Sports Guy here on YouTube and online all the time at westhesportsguy.com. Bookmark that site if you want to get all the social media links, weekly reviews of the NFL, the MLB Postseason, recap of the NBA champion Los Angeles Lakers. It's all there for you at westhesportsguy.com. Getting right into it, it is time for a playoff update.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
Focusing on the Major League Baseball postseason, it is just about wrapping up with the American League and National League Championship Series. In the National League, the Dodgers won Game 5. They will be pushing it to Game 6 with the Braves leading that series 3-2. And the Houston Astros are making history as the only team, or I shouldn't say only, the second team in Major League history to force a Game 7 when they were down 3-0 against the Tampa Bay Rays. The Houston Astros forcing a Game 7, that'll be today, to determine who will be representing the American League in this year's World Series. And as I said earlier, the Dodgers and the Braves going to Game 6 with the Braves ahead 3-2. They were not ahead 3-0, mind you. It was 2-0, then it became 2-1, then 3-1. Now it's 3-2 and in favor of Atlanta still, but the Dodgers did make a pretty good case to maybe get it to a Game 7, but we shall see today whether or not the Dodgers force that. But it is a winner-take-all in the American League between the Rays and the Astros. Time for the segment that won't curtail the freedom of the press. Do you remember?
You remember?
Do you remember LeVeon Bell when he was actually considered the best running back in the NFL? That was for the Pittsburgh Steelers. That seems like a different era, really. But LeVeon Bell is still active. He's still playing in the NFL, and he couldn't even finish 2 full seasons with the New York Jets. Mind you, that was not all his fault. A lot of the blame goes towards the New York Jets and their front office, which has been now let go in fairly recent memory now. But just after they signed LeVeon Bell to a record contract at the time for a running back, they fired the GM. And then head coach Adam Gase, which apparently was never in favor of bringing in LeVeon Bell to begin with, being the new head coach in the New York Jets last offseason, he has not been in a great relationship with LeVeon Bell this entire time. And that came to a head this season specifically with LeVeon Bell having some injury issues last season. He had more injury issues this season with the New York Jets. We all know how bad the New York Jets are right now, but LeVeon Bell was not going to solve all their problems. Their offensive line was still terrible. Quarterback play is not at an all-time high. They really don't have many other weapons besides LeVeon Bell. And another peculiar thing, he has not been utilized as a receiver much since coming over to the New York Jets. Does LeVeon Bell really care about this? I don't know. He had a lot of reasons to not really care anymore since he got paid. He held out his last season with the Pittsburgh Steelers, didn't play a single game on a franchise tag, thus saving himself for a bigger contract payday, which he ended up getting. Now, I don't fault LeVeon Bell for looking at that from his standpoint because the way the NFL works, the way the contracts work especially, you only get really one gigantic contract at your prime years in the NFL if you're considered one of the best players in the league. But in LeVeon Bell's case, he got paid, and was the effort really there? It's kind of a give and take here. But like I said, the Jets really didn't have the best team around him, but he definitely took the money. So looking at it from that standpoint, you kind of get what you deserve there. That's not to say I don't like LeVeon Bell. I do. I was saying at the time before he went to the New York Jets that he was the best all-around running back in the NFL. I thought those days were done. LaDainian Tomlinson was the last great running back. I made a case for it myself at westhesportsguy.com. LaDainian Tomlinson was the last great running back of his era. And really, I didn't think another one was going to come along this quickly, but LeVeon Bell proved that to me. But now going with the New York Jets, he has thus been cut. They've been trying to trade him now for 2 years since they signed him. He's been let go. The Kansas City Chiefs have decided to bring him in on a 1-year deal to see what he has left, being in a kind of a running back tandem with their rookie Clyde Edwards-Helaire. It's a win-win for both. If he doesn't work out, he moves on to something else at the end of the season or during the season. But it's a perfect situation for LeVeon. The pressure is definitely not on him to make anything happen. He just has to get behind a very good offensive line. You have an elite quarterback in Patrick Mahomes behind you that can also throw you the football if need be. And it's not going to be all on LeVeon to make things happen in that offense. He's just another addition to it. This was not a marriage made in matrimony at all between LeVeon and the New York Jets. It was a mistake from the beginning. Say what you want about the head coach and Adam Gase, but he saw the writing on the wall. This was not going to work. He didn't want LeVeon Bell. It ended up happening. The GM that was there at the time suffered the consequences and now they've been trying to avoid what was clearly a mistake in the beginning. But from LeVeon's standpoint, he did get paid, so it's a win-win for him. And time for my feel-good story of the week, and this basically is not so much anything outside, anything personal. It's just to kind of make you aware of what the environment we're in right now. If you haven't heard anything about a story that's been going around in the last couple days here from the New York Post, which is one of the oldest, if not the oldest major publication in the United States, basically their Twitter account was locked out for actually highlighting a story, an exclusive from them. Now, I'm not going to get into the details of the story, but if you want to look for it yourself, just go to the New York Post website. I've also linked the story myself on my Twitter account. You can go to westthesportsguy.com and find the Twitter location there. The Twitter and Facebook restricted access of a press organization, legitimate press organization, to share their own reporting, their own story about a particular topic. Now, that's a problem. That's a problem from anybody who is for your constitutional rights. Freedom of the press is part of that First Amendment. It's first for a reason. The press should have the free will to share information, whether or not you deem it correct or not. Some stories can be speculative. Some stories can be misleading as well. But that is up to you to decide that. That is not up to the purveyor of a platform or a publisher in some cases, like what Facebook and Twitter have right now. Other social media accounts are doing the same thing when it comes to being a platform or a publisher. But it's fine time that they need to decide once and for all. You have to be one or the other. You can't have it both ways. Basically, what it means is that they have legal protection from both sides of the aisle. They're considered themselves a platform, which means they are free from any type of legal obligation when it comes to the sharing of content or the free speech of others that are using the platform. They are free of any legal ramifications that could come from that. When you're a publisher, that's a different story, because then you now are held liable for what is being published on your platform in some cases. But Twitter and Facebook are getting away with this for far too long, and the chickens have come home to roost this week with the blatant disregard of restricting information within the public square. Whether you like it or not, the public square is no longer at the steps of your city council, of your state capitol, of Congress itself. It is now on Twitter and Facebook. That is the public square. Whether you like it or not, that is what it is nowadays. Now, you cannot restrict information. You cannot ban a publication from sharing their information to the public in general. Thankfully, Twitter has reversed course. Facebook is still kind of doing their thing with the throttling of information with certain accounts. Twitter's still doing that as well, but Twitter did completely reverse course and outright banning the content. But still, this is a huge step in the wrong direction. It's being brought back to where it needs to be, but it still needs to go a little bit further into they need to decide once and for all, are you a publisher or are you a platform? From their perspective, one makes them a crap ton of money. From the other perspective, it won't make them a crap ton of money, and they will be held liable for what is put on their publication. So that's where we're at right now with Twitter and Facebook. I'm still using it. I'm still voicing my opinion. I wish you voice your opinion in whatever fashion you deem to be fit. Let's all keep it civil, though. You can say practically whatever you want other than a call to action, which means you wish something to be done upon somebody. That's a no-no. Legally, that is a no-no. But everything else, it's up for grabs from a legal perspective. But again, that needs to be decided once and for all. They need to decide. You're a publisher or a platform. You can't have it both ways anymore. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you bookmark westthesportsguy.com. Use that hashtag #OneOnOneWest. Subscribe and hit that bell below to get notified of all the latest episodes when they are posted here on this channel. I will see you next time.